Hello and welcome to Frame the Game, the series where I take a look at all of the amazing photo modes in video games. Today we're going to take a look at Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch's latest PS4 exclusive, and oh boy, does it have a fantastic photo mode. Not only is Tsushima an absolutely beautiful game that just begs to be captured, the photo mode itself has some unique features I have never seen before in a game. So without further ado, let's frame this game. Okay, so let's check out some of these camera features. Where am I? I am in this location, just in case you're interested to know exactly where this is, Old Togo Rice Fields area. And this is right at the beginning of kind of like the second act. So we are just getting into the second big open area, and this is a pretty good spot to do it because there's a lot of different colors here, so I can go through some of the color grading. So we're just going to go to this bridge, and we're going to go into photo mode, which is right on the D-pad, so it's like a very easy to get to thing. You don't have to go into a menu, you don't have to do anything weird, and that kind of like shows the emphasis that they put on this onto this photo mode, in my opinion. It's just right there. So we've got pretty basic stuff. We can pitch, we can pan, we can truck or dolly, whatever you want to call it. We can raise up and raise down. And then we've got all sorts of things that we can go through in the bottom left here. We're going to hold on to tracking shot in a moment. That's something that I really haven't seen in a game before either, so that's one of the things that I do want to show off. But first of all, let's take a look and notice how, his cape is still moving, because we're in photo mode, right? He's not moving, and there's an NPC over there. She's not moving, but these flags are moving, the flames are moving, leaves are moving through the air, birds are flying, grass is moving, trees are blowing in the wind. This is extremely cool and very interesting because it almost turns the photo mode into a video mode as well. It can create really cool like long exposure shots or something like that, where you have most of everything is still, but you still got moving objects like a field blowing in the wind or something like that, or leaves blowing across the screen. We'll just go through some of these things real quick because they're pretty standard. Your focal length is pretty much your zoom, so you can zoom all the way in. You can see those boats out there and these huts. You can zoom all the way out, gives you a bigger field of view as well. It defaults to 19 millimeters, which is usually a pretty good one, pretty good spot to start at. We've got roll. I don't usually use roll too much. That's a very stylized thing. Depth of field. So this is something I want to spend a little bit of time on here because I think the depth of field in this photo mode is extremely good. A lot of times depth of field, it looks incredibly fake. So all of this stuff with these these camera terms are all fake in video games. They're not actually you don't actually have a camera with a lens that can is actually getting a depth of field, but the game can render it, and this game does a really good job of rendering depth of field. I think it's appropriate. Edges don't look weird. Sometimes with depth of field in games, edges end up looking weird. It doesn't look just like a muddy, smeared mess. It actually is subtle, which is what a depth of field is supposed to be. It's just, it gradually goes from in focus to out of focus. And, you can make it real heavy if you want to. And I think it stays pretty well. It looks pretty good throughout the entire length of it. It doesn't get too, when you get to the end, it gets a little fake. But for a depth of field in a game, it's a really fantastic one. So the other thing is you can adjust the focus distance, which right now we're kind of focused on 4 meters, which is where approximately where Jin is standing. But if we back up, we'll see that he gets blurry because he's no longer 4 meters away from the lens, and we can switch that. So now Jin is blurry, and we start to get the background more in focus. So we'll go back to Jin. Now the background, the faraway parts are blurry, and then we shift back to Jin, not in focus, in the background in focus. And yeah, we can get right up real close here and see how this depth of field I just think it looks really good. Like I said, a lot of games they don't get this right. They have like a lot of aliasing around the edges, and it looks just like a paint smear over the things that are supposed to be out of focus. Jin doesn't look great. I think like character models could be maybe a little bit better with it, but objects and stuff like the flag looks pretty good, and if you do close-ups of plants and trees and stuff, it looks pretty good. So yeah, let's turn that off because I don't want any depth of field. Whoops. So we'll go to color grading now, I guess. So yeah, we have some tints that we can apply to the whole screen. We've got none. We've got vivid, which makes the colors pop, the bright colors and stuff like that. We got 2 black and whites. We've got this, which is just a plain black and white, and then we have a vintage black and white, which I'm not 100% sure what that's really going for. I think what it's kind of going for is the way that old cameras used to not have such a high dynamic range of exposure. So things that were white or things that were like really bright came out almost completely white or glowing. I think that's what they're going for here. But if I'm going to go with a black and white, I'm probably going to go with this one because it gives the subtle shades of gray. Like red turns into this like gray, whereas red here, shade of gray there. Here it's just white, which is strange. And then we have Storm, which kind of gives everything a kind of like a green tint to it. I don't really like this one too much. Autumn I really like a lot because this makes orange and red really pop. I think that looks really great. Kind of adds a really good level of contrast there. Samurai Red. This is obviously a very not very subtle at all, and it's obviously super stylized. So this is going to be something you use when you have a particular situation for it. Like in this situation, I wouldn't really say it's really appropriate, but you can. I have used this a few times to create like really dramatic, really moody stuff. If we're doing like a duel or something like that, I could see how this could be really cool. Smoke just kind of adds a gray tint to everything. Maple, so Maple and Ginkgo, which are the 2 we're going to look at next, are really interesting because, as you can see, everything's black and white except for these red flags. And Maple highlights red. I think there's a little bit of red on Jin as well. Yeah, see, you can see a little bit of red on his leg there. So that's still red, and then these flags are still red. And I think that's a really cool juxtaposition here, where, the only things standing out from the black and white are red. There's some, like, maple trees that you can find in the world that are red, and you can make some really cool pictures there. Then Ginkgo does the same thing except it highlights green. So now you can see that everything is black and white except for the green between the lakes down there. And then there's this tint type, which is just kind of like a orangey, kind of like almost like a sepia coloring, which it's okay. I haven't really used it too much though. Kind of like makes it looks a little bit posterized too. And then we'll go back around to this. You can adjust the amount of the color grading intensity. So like if you want to do a mix of like kind of black and white but not 100%, or if you want to go to samurai red but just make it a little bit of a red tint, you can do that. But usually I leave them at 100%. Exposure is just that. It makes it lighter and darker. There isn't a whole lot of subtlety here. I wish there was a little bit more, like instead of just exposure, like you could adjust contrast and stuff like that. That's something that this photo mode is missing. Particles, here we go. So there's all sorts of different particles you can choose. So you can get red leaves to fall, yellow leaves, and if you keep the environment animation going, they all just blow around. They look cool. It defaults to 100%, which is insane amounts of leaves and stuff blowing around. So usually I bump this down pretty low because it just looks ridiculous. Bamboo leaves, which are just green little floaty things. Orange leaves, cherry blossoms. I like the pampas pollen because it's just like little bits of pollen floating through the air. Kind of hard to see in this particular situation, but there they are right there. Those little white things floating around. I think that looks pretty good. You can do like an ash and amber, so like if you want to do this matches pretty good with the samurai red, like makes it look like an intense battle scene, or there's like a fire going on in the background or something like that. Firefly. So this is ridiculous. Look at how many fireflies. Okay, I think I gotta move. I'm gonna move over here. So we'll go back to fireflies because I want you to see this ridiculousness. It's a swarm. Oh my god, look at all these things. It's a swarm of fireflies. It's like it's a plague on the land of fireflies. Dragonflies too. Way too many dragonflies. Butterflies. Crazy. But you can adjust the particle intensity, so like 3% butterflies is probably a little bit more realistic than millions of them. Crows, and then songbirds. So songbirds look ridiculous as well. And everything moves in the direction that the wind's blowing. So you can change the wind speed, which will make it like more intense. Seems like it's a storm going. You can change the wind direction at will, and you can see the birds are now flying off in that direction, turning. They're flying with the wind, and all the particles move with the wind. So we'll turn those off for now. Clouds is a little weird. If it is cloudy, which it isn't right now, it just kind of changes the pattern of the clouds. It doesn't make them go away or anything like that. It just makes them move in motion. Time of day is obviously really cool. You can change it to be whatever time of day you want. So you can go noon all the way to sunset, which obviously the sunsets look really, really nice. So you get this nice orange, intense sun going down below the horizon. Everything gets tinted orange, long shadows and stuff like that. The night looks pretty cool too. It's interesting when you go between the night and the day, the exposure like heavily changes. And you kind of see that. Where's the moon? Moon's going to be over there, but Let's change the weather to clear. Okay, we can kind of see it now. Sometimes the moon looks a lot better than that, and like it's very crisp and clear. Yeah, and then we'll have the sun coming up over here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, so that's time of day, and then weather you can change. So you can go clear, you can go foggy. It's almost always foggy in the game. Very, very rarely is it clear. There's always some sort of fog, and it kind of changes the look dramatically when you add a little bit of fog. Heavy fog, not a big difference there, but it can be if you're in like a tight space. Sunbreak looks really cool. It just kind of, gives everything a pink tint to it. Overcast, I can show you the clouds on this, what it looks like. See, it just moves the clouds around. It doesn't really make it any more or less cloudy, it just moves them around. And rain, snow, heavy rain, snow. If we get into the northern areas, you'll actually see snow. And then thunder. I don't like the thunder sound in this game. I think it sounds really fake, but whatever. And then you can actually choose to turn the animated backgrounds on or off. Animated environments, rather. Where's Jen? Where is he? There he is. So we can go off, on. So this would be normal photo mode, Whenever you launch into a photo mode, it just kind of freezes everything. But yeah, you can see how cool it is that, those things still keep blowing in the wind. Now we've got Jin emotions, which we have to take off his helmet. I haven't really messed with these too much, but I'm sure they're pretty funny. Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, these are good. You can turn the mask and helmet off if you want to. You can add cinema bars. Very cinematic, very dramatic. You can put a stamp on it, which is dumb, I think, anyway. That's just like, you can't move it around anywhere. I guess you can move it over. If you want to frame it up like this or something like that, but you can't actually move it around the screen. It just has to sit there. Music, which is also really cool, and goes in line with the whole making it more of a movie mode than just a photo mode. You can add music tracks to the back of it, which adds a whole nother level of drama. And there's some good tracks here. So yeah, let's make a tracking shot. So tracking shot is a little confusing. There's obviously no tutorial for this in the game, so I had to figure it out kind of like myself. But you can set a position with the camera. So we'll set one here. And then, so this is what I first started doing. I'm like, okay, so I want it to just pan across. I'll set one there. Now we play the animation. Whoa, that goes too fast. Way too fast. So I was like, man, how do you control the speed? Well, it turns out if you just set a bunch of cameras, it kind of like, I guess the logic behind it is, however, between the two camera positions, it will say like, it will take 1 second to get from camera position 1 to camera position 2. So if you do camera position 1 here, camera position 2 here, it'll take a while to get from 1 to 2. So what we'll do here is, if we want a nice dramatic pan, well, let's put the cinema bars on. Let's see. Let's line this up. Get a dramatic Jin shot here. So we'll set a tracking shot here. We'll set another one here. Here, we'll just keep hitting the X button and setting new camera positions to there. Now when we hit play, it'll move across him a lot more dramatically. And you know, it's pretty cool. I haven't really messed too much with the tracking shots. Usually what I like to do is set up like a really nice like scenery shot and just let it roll, and then I'll take a little video of it and I'll upload that, put some effects on it and stuff like that. But yeah, this is just the photo mode, and I think it's great. There's a couple of things I wish it had. Like I wish it had, like I said, better control of contrast and exposure, and I wish it had a vignette option to kind of like soften the edges of the screen to kind of focus your eyes on the middle of whatever you're focusing on. But you know, other than that, it's fantastic. And then immediately you can just jump right back into it. And you can do this like, you can do like action shots and stuff like that. You can activate it in the middle of combat. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with this photo mode. Let's see what we can do with this, because I kind of like this. Let's add some depth of field. Focus on him. Probably under Samurai Red look good? Not really. Actually maybe if we change the position a little bit. Oh, he's jumping at you. Oh yeah, there we go. He gonna get you. Make that background, that bridge a little softer. Drop the exposure a little bit. We'll add some red leaves. Alright. That time of day is good. Weather's good. He's got his mask and helmet on because he's scary. We'll add some cinema bars. Look at that. Look at that. Take that away, take a screenshot, and you're good to go. Now. Ah! Oh wow, I died. I didn't even jump in the water. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think this is by far one of the best photo modes I've seen in a game. And I mess around with photo modes a lot, and I think it should be the kind of high watermark now for photo modes in games. I'd love to see all of these features, plus the ones that I said I wish they had here. Maybe they'll add more in patches and stuff like that, because they definitely put a focus on this photo mode, and the game just begs for it. It absolutely begs to be photographed. So yeah, thanks for checking this out, this episode of Frame the Game, and yeah, we'll be back with more coming up soon. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to see more. Check out voxelvoice.com for all of our great content, and consider supporting us on Patreon to keep our content ad-free and independent.